This is going to be episode 1 of LCD Talkshow, and it's basically a new show that is going to highlight some of the players that play in our league. And today, I got the support from the supports, and two of the best in the league, definitely. It is going to be GrisenN and JeppeHou. And JeppeHou, as you can tell, doesn't have a camera today, so he's got a nice little picture instead. And could you guys just briefly, starting with GrisenN, tell a little bit about yourselves, which team you play in, and such?
Yeah, I am GrisenN. I play support for Box Vipers in the Danish league. Yeah, about me, I played in 2 Riot leagues in Mexico and in Moscow, and then I played in some minor teams in Europe, where I also lived in Budapest, and then I think I played every split of LCD so far, so it's not a new experience for me.
Yeah. JeppeHou?
Yeah, I'm JeppeHou. I'm the support from Copenhagen Flames. I'm more of a rookie compared to GrisenN, but I also played on all the splits of LCD. But I have been on smaller teams, and I'm quickly rising to get on a bigger team, and a bigger team, and a bigger team.
Yeah. All right, let's just jump right into it. The first question I have is about preseason in League of Legends. Do you guys think it's a good or a bad thing? Because a lot of people are like complaining about the lack of competitiveness in solo queue during that time. And do you guys feel it's just a waste of time, or do you feel like it actually has like a bigger purpose? Because you guys play in the off season as well, whereas the LCS teams usually like have a break for this amount of time.
I mean, I think it depends on how you compare it. Like, I think this preseason feels a bit more rewarding after they introduced Grandmaster and Iron, and they removed the 5th division, and also they made this soft reset in the Challenger ladder where everyone went to 0 LP. So there comes a bit of a rivalry there to see how to climb the ladder, who's best in preseason. And I think it's also still a little bit of, like, it has some relevancy to it, what rating you are, if you're looking for a team. I know it's preseason and people can see what you got, like, in the ending of the season, but I still think it shows somewhat of your current form. So if you're scouting for players, I think it's still relevant, like, what rating you are. But of course, everyone is waiting for the reset for sure.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with GrisenN. It's this preseason it's way better than the last. Mostly because like the resets and the removal of the 5th divisions, but also I think it's good to have like a little break from a real season, because it's one of the largest preseason there was. Like last preseason they only like introduced the plans, which was quickly you just quickly like learned about it. But this season, or this preseason, with like the tower changes and the tower plating, it's like I feel like it's a bigger patch, like a bigger change to the whole season, that that's good to like have a little break from the real season to just learn what's good and what doesn't work and how to play around it.
For sure.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
How does it feel like to play like in the LCD while that is happening? Because I remember the first week of preseason where the turret plating got introduced and people were still trying to tower dive at like level 5, but then they realized, holy shit, this turret hurts.
Yeah. I actually played on the release date itself, like the day the patch came out. We had our first games, and our playstyle was just about getting mid prior, top prior, and look for diving bot lane. That's like legitimately the only thing we played around, and that was our game plan. And we tried that with the new turret plating, and we just lost the first game because we gave up like 5 kills trying to dive mid, bot, and top. And yeah, then after that we were like, okay, I think we have to avoid turrets, and we just needed to buy something completely new that we never played around.
Yeah, do you feel the same, Jeppe?
Yeah, kinda. We were lucky enough to like play the day before the patch came out, so we didn't have much problems. But we had some rookie mistakes. The first LCD game we played with the turret platings.
Yeah, I mean, that's generally the consensus, I think, from most players.
Yeah.
So to move on to the next question, the new champion, Neeko, I don't know if you guys have played her yet, She's been out for like a little over a week now, and I was curious about you guys' thoughts about her and how do you feel like she's gonna perform in competitive environments?
You want to go first, Jeppe?
Yeah. So I've played her kinda a lot as a support, and I haven't really found the way to play her yet. I can see some viability in her, like both in solo queue and in competitive, but I think her strength mostly is either mid lane or maybe ADC with like some attack speed build.
The like Kai'Sa AP build, maybe.
Yeah,
I've seen someone do
Kai'Sa
that.
AP build, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked so much into that, but so I don't know if it's too viable, but I think she can be viable mid. I think her passive is way better in solo queue, but if you play against someone who really does, let's say you killed him one or twice with your jungler's help and he's slightly tilted, you can easily from mid lane get a good roam off because you just pretend to be someone else and he doesn't really like. If the mid lane is just not concentrated, you can outplay the opponents in that way. But I think it's better in solo queue by far.
Okay. Case?
Yeah. My opinion about her, I played against her on mid, jungle, AD carry, and support, and I feel like from my own roles perspective, support, I think she's good in lane, but I feel like she needs resources because she wants to go into you and she wants to like one-shot someone. And I feel like she can actually work pretty well on the AD carry role, trying to pick some of these mages, because I feel like she can have very good synergy following up on the support meta picks, like a Thresh or something. Like she can CC chain super effectively, and she has a lot of damage if she's allowed to hit her spells. But I don't think she can do that when she's like in the support role, because the AD carry is not setting you up as the same way if you turn it around. And also I think she is better mid than jungle. Obviously it's hard to tell because we haven't seen too much about her, but I think she can be good mid because she has this how can you call it? You can be like inside of the head of your enemies, and when you're centered on the map, you will have more flexibility to move around and look for those opportunities.
Yeah, true. Her kit is very roam oriented, at least when you think about her W. So that's true. Moving on to the next question. Gonna talk about some goals that you guys probably have in League of Legends. I wanted to know what type of goals you actually have and how do you intend to fulfill them? Because obviously you're not just playing for fun or for lols. You're actually trying to make a career out of it.
You can go first.
Yeah, but first.
So one of my big goals is like to live full time of it. To be able to play League of Legends and just earn my living that way, like either living in a gaming house or get a big salary and just living from home. So that's like one of my big goals of League of Legends, and I have like a solo queue ranking goal as well, where I want to hit Challenger like in next season. So yeah.
For sure. Grisen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any solo queue preference or anything. I mostly just use that to try out stuff for scrims. But my personal goals in the past has been I wanted to earn a lot of money and I wanted to also make a living out of League, and I tried that and I played in some major regions, but now I feel my motivation is more specific towards trying to improve as a player, and you don't always improve on the teams you get the most money, like going to these wildcard regions. So I think I'm narrowing it down to I just want to become a better League of Legends player, and if I see an opportunity on it in an organization that isn't paying me that well, I will choose that over a high salary. So obviously we all want to go to LCS or academy teams, but I feel like I'm not good enough right now, so I just need to improve a lot, and I don't think money will get me there, so I'm just looking for like a really good environment for me to grow in.
So self-improvement is basically like what you're both are saying, like try to be the best support you can be and then moving on from there and living off of League, basically.
Yeah, like I've been living off League for like 2 or 3 years. So that's not really my goal anymore. I just want to try to just become better, and then hopefully things will turn out by itself. That's like how I believe things work.
Mm-hmm.
If you work hard enough, things will come to you by itself.
Probably, yeah. Hopefully, at least.
Yeah.
So you guys are both gonna play in the playoffs, which is this weekend. How do you guys prepare for this? Like both as a team or like alone, like mentally, I guess. And how do you actually see the competition? So for people that are unaware, it's 4 teams coming in. It's gonna be Singularity, Copenhagen Flames, Bucks Vipers, and Good Game Esports. So let's start with Grisen.
How do we prepare?
Yeah, like as a team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as a team and as an individual. As a team, we will obviously scrim a bit. We haven't really scrimmed too much, but we will sit down and talk about our specific matchups, and we will discuss what is their strengths, what is our strengths, like what is their weaknesses, what are our weaknesses, and try to build a perfect draft around that. For example, if we say they're playing very hyperly aggressive bot, okay, maybe we can force them to not have like Lucian Thresh, for example. Try to put them in a more like you don't want them to feel comfortable. So I think this goes for every preparation when you're meeting a team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're screaming as much as other teams maybe. So yeah, we will see how it goes.
Fair enough. You are 2nd seed, if I'm not mistaken, Bucks Vipers.
Yeah,
And
but as an individual, I like to watch the other teams play. So I will watch their latest games and try to analyze that a bit, and then try to draft like out from that. So it's when I prepare for a game, I'm more prepared for the enemy than like for ourselves. So I try to put the two in relation to each other.
Yeah. Seems like a good idea. And Jeppe, what about you guys?
Well, team-wise, we do mostly the same as Bucks Vipers does, but we like the day before we scrim, or like the latest scrim we get before playoff, or before a game, we often start with playing like OPs that we're not too comfortable with, and if that goes well, we will keep that going. But if we see some weaknesses in the OPs, like if we are too bad at playing them, or if we just don't know how they work completely, we will just stop playing them and just play our normal stuff to warm that up to a game.
Mm-hmm. So stuff like Carthus and stuff like that, because that's been a high priority this preseason.
I think it's always a really good idea to have like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a warm-up scrim, but just like a scrim a couple of days before, where we're actually in the state of mind that okay, right now we're playing Singularity, for example, so we're just gonna draft as it was the game instead of just thinking, okay, what do we want to practice, or okay, this team likes to play Pantheon, so let's pick something that counters Pantheon. You should not like give a damn about the Pantheon, for example, and just think like you're playing Singularity, and try to play into that in game as well with your game strats.
Yeah, but do you agree?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about
my point? Yeah. My point is, I just know from like amateur scene is sometimes when you're scrimming, you can sometimes go into autopiloting, and you're adapting too much on the in-game, like what the enemy wants to do, but you should try to play like you're playing Singularity to see what they're doing, so it doesn't become super random. You want to keep the practice as relevant to the match as possible.
Yeah, seems like a good idea at least. Yeah, but what about individually? How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, that's where me and Grisen is kind of different, because I'm not that support this like a bigger analyst, and I have an analytic brain, and I'm more going into myself and preparing myself mentally. Like I don't really watch the LCD games other than live, so I'm more like I'll watch maybe some pro games. That's different, but I'm just relaxing, warming myself up with a little bit of solo queue, a little bit of for fun playing League.
A little ARAM.
Yeah.
Nexus Blitz.
Yeah.
just relaxing, having some fun, like hyping myself up without like really hyping myself up. Just relaxing and taking preparing myself mentally.
Yeah, getting into a good state of mind, basically.
Yeah, I think it's always the right thing to do is finding like a balance of emotions. Sometimes you can also get too hyped,
True. All right.
Yeah.
So a question regarding the support role as a whole. How did you guys get into the support role? Because it's often looked at as like the worst role to carry from, at least, and has like the least amount of players. Because often more than not, when people get autofilled, it's into support, at least in solo queue, I feel like. Yeah, Jeppe,
you can
go
start.
ahead.
Oh, okay, I'll start. So I started off by like having a friend that introduced me to League, and because I wasn't that good at the game at the start, I was just like his support bitch. I still remember him playing Israel, and I was playing Taric. My first like 4 League of Legends ranked games was me running around and just trying to make him survive. It was really funny when somebody short picked the ADC, and we had 2 junglers with Israel Taric just running around.
Holy.
Yeah, back in season 3, baby.
Good old fun thing.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So basically,
And,
like most supports are born into it. Like they're not born into it; they're just shoved into it because they're playing with their friends.
Yeah, I was, and I don't know. I liked having the opportunity to just save everybody and like be able to make some picks and something. Also, I wasn't that great at farming, and it's always a plus not having to farm always.
True. And Grisen, what about you?
I mean, I've been playing League for I think 8 or 9 years now, and my first team I actually was a top lane main, and I played top in scrims and tournaments. Then I became really good friends with the team's AD carry, a guy called Ding Dane. He's playing Overwatch now, and I mean, we started socializing a lot, and we became really good friends. So it was more fun playing bot lane together. And we just played bot lane in solo queue for fun, and as time passed by, we thought, okay, we might actually become a decent enough bot lane. So yeah, that's how I got into the support role. It just felt natural making the transition from top to support.
Cool. Because mostly supports, when they're like second rolling, they're like usually playing ADC and stuff like that. Do you guys second roll as ADC as well? Because it's like closer to your lane, or do you feel like something else is maybe a bit better?
For me, I used to in season 4 and 5. I actually used to play AD carry in solo queue because I got headache from playing support. I had easier time climbing as AD carry, and then I just played support in scrims only. And yeah, since like season 5, I've just been playing support because I feel like it's probably more relevant for my practice. But when you care about rating, you want to do everything right. But I don't care as much about my rating now as I did in the past.
Yeah.
But when my secondary role in solo queue is usually mid lane. I like to play LeBlanc, Pyke, and Karma, and that's about it.
2 of those are supports, by the way.
Yeah,
But
so I'm not really the multi-role talent, I guess.
No. What about you, Jeppe? Got any hidden talents?
Well, the moment that ADC kind of got back with like Kai'Sa was really OP, and attack speed Varus was also OP. I played AD second role, and I had kind of success with it because I knew how not to just int in lane. And if I was second role, my support had to be like first role, so I just had him to carry me. So it was like this 50-50. As my support had a real bad game, we both went 0-10, or we both went 10-0. So it's like 50-50 with me and AD.
Awesome.
But since AD has been like in a really bad state, because I don't really play Lucian, I play most like this Kai'Sa type player.
Not very lane dominant.
Yeah, I'm starting to just second roll top and play the OP stuff like Urgot, which is kind of brainless and just you have so much impact.
I mean, it's better than Malphite.
Well, I played Malphite back in season 5 as second roll, and it was spicy.
Full AP and stuff.
Nah, I played it full armor and just
holy.
The thing about the thing about Malphite back then was his attack speed. You just rushed Frozen hard and you just tilted the opponent top laner so he didn't want to play.
Holy, just made him AFK.
Yeah, like playing against a Jax back in season 5 with Frozen Heart and Malphite and just maxing E, he can't even proc his passive, like his attack speed multiplier.
Oh yeah.
He tilts so hard.
Jeez, it's like one of the OG Jax counters as well. Just pick Malphite and just laugh because he can't do shit.
It reminds me when you picked Nuno support against Kalista players just to like make them hate
Oh
laugh.
my god, yes. You can't even jump. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
You literally can't move. She's getting a buff, by the way, next patch, so that should be interesting. Yeah, she's getting buffed.
I was not aware of that.
She's getting buffed to her Q, AD, like early, level 1, I think.
I think she needs it.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, we can talk a little bit about her as well, because she's been like one of those ADs that when she's good, she's like pick ban in competitive.
She's like,
basically.
yeah, it's like 100%.
Yeah, because every ADC knows how to play her, and you can just out-trade anyone in lane, and you can outplay everyone because she has so much mobility. And there's like not really that much counterplay than to like trying to lock her down really, really hard early on. But do you guys feel like she's one of those ADCs that like should come back and has like can be viable again if she gets the number changes, or is her martial poise, like her passive, just too bad?
I think it's so hard to answer because Kalista as a champion, her kit is so broken when you get ahead. Like the champ is beyond snowbally compared to other AD carries. So that's why they're always trying to touch like the mana pool or the damage output. But her kit as an AD carry, when you're ahead, like the mobility is unmatched. Like you have a jump every auto attack, and your ulti is like self defense, and you can just like you either have to run or you have to all in her. Like you can't do like long trades with her as well. I think she's just really hard to balance because of her kit.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, I don't know. I really like playing with her, but obviously I hate to play against her.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't mind her not being in the meta because, as you said, I don't think it's fun when there's this champion that is like 100% pick a ban, like she was when she was on her top level. So I don't think that's a healthy place for her to be in.
Kind of like a post rework Irelia, Akali.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually right now, it's kind of like where Lucian is. I feel like Lucian is just 100% pick up ban right now because there's nothing that can really match his trading. Maybe a Draven.
Yeah, exactly. Draven is like the only one.
People don't play Draven. I feel like Lucian also needs to, I don't know. It just feels stupid when you can't really match it with anything and just hope to outskill it. I don't like that.
Yeah, I guess Ezreal is like the safest one because he can just like stay afar, but then as a support you can't really do anything because you just have to stand there. And
it just becomes super awkward when the whole idea of picking something into something is just avoid the opponent, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the part in League of Legends where you can actually match up against each other and play fire with fire, and the best player comes out on top, and it's not too matchup dependent.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of a bot lane meta where it was actually like that, but I feel like every bot lane meta there's always like one guy that just like is head and shoulders above all the rest in terms of picking that person, and then that person gets banned. Then you go like to the second most OP, which is usually stuff like I don't know, when Caitlyn was meta, then you would like ban her and pick Varus instead because he had like similar range-ish and did the same stuff.
It just feels really unrewarding as a player when you have this feeling inside, okay, he just has the better matchup, you know? Like playing, for example, if you're playing Victor top and you give them Irelia or something like that, there's not much you can do on your own, you know? Like you can really show off. And I think every player hates
just press jungle difference and yeah, for sure. What about you, Jeppe? What do you think?
I have it on the same way, with like it's really good to play with and really annoying to play against, and it's just so snowbally. But I think it might be okay for it to come back right now. I'll really hate playing against like mages in the bot lane, like playing against Six and playing against Xerath and playing against Karthus.
Xerath.
And I think like against Karthus especially, Kalista could have a really like easy way to penalize it. True. Both with like being able to set her support to like make him easier to engage. If you're playing it with a Fresh or Alistar, like these CC supports, it will be really easy to kill the Karthus if he ever makes a mistake. Also, the wall is not really as impactful.
Like if it hits her, it is, because then she loses all her movement speed.
But you can still Q to do it against her. But if you're playing an immobile support ADC, for example, it's way more penalizing.
Yeah, like if you're playing Varus, you just get walled, you're basically dead. Yeah. He's gonna hit 3 or 4 Qs on you.
Kalista has more of a counter. I think.
For sure.
But you still need to like be really. Yeah, you can't. Right now, I don't think you can just first pick her, because I played her a bit and tested her before the buff is like coming, and I played against Illusion, and that shit is not really funny.
Nope.
So yeah,
not a good matchup.
I think the ADs that's meta right now with like Lucian and maybe Draven if you're good with him, and he's like
Lucian, Draven, and then Ezra is like third, but that's just because he's so safe that like you can't.
Yeah,
really
but also like these safe like CCs or set up ADCs like Jin and maybe Ash, maybe Ash will also make a little return. But it's not like she can just steamroll them, because, for example, Jin can just push her in and the same fetch. So I think it's okay for her to come back a little right now. The only like problem is though if Lucian gets nerfed. Yeah. Because that's the only real big counter that can just really fuck up.
I guess Draven could also like really mess her up in lane, because he just out trades her completely.
Yeah, but the only problem is that, for example, in LCD, we don't really have that LOL Tyler 1 type of guide.
No.
Like, we don't have a Hans Sama that can just steamroll.
No. I think Archer is doing a pretty good job at playing Draven. His Draven actually gets
Singularity's AD carry likes to play Draven as well now.
Yeah, Gagai. Yeah, he also plays Draven. He's actually pretty good at him as well. That guy gets banned against him as well. Which is interesting, because like when you get these picks... Because I remember last split as well, Grayson, you had like every game I would cast with you, you had like 3 supports banned against you, and it was like Shen was one of them every time, and then it's like Alistar and Braum, and it's just like, no, this guy can't do anything.
It was so ironic, because I actually never played Shen, but people just kept banning it, and it made zero sense. Like, we never played Shen in scrims, and everyone was just banning Shen, because like the first team banned Shen, and everyone was like, oh shit, we have to ban Shen, because everyone else is doing it. So I was just tracking bans that I didn't even play, and I was having a good time, I guess.
Yeah. No, because I remember me and Gulbo, we were like talking about it like on stream. We were like, well, it makes sense as if it's like Shen support, because Grayson likes to roam around the map, he likes to make plays, and Shen is like just his type of champion, because he can like taunt flash in mid lane, he can stand united on anyone on the map and make plays with his jungler. And then you come in and like do an interview with us, and you're like, yeah, no, I don't play Shen at all. And then I was like, what the hell is going on? What made them...
It's not like I can't play him, it's just like I have no priority on him, so it doesn't affect me that they're banning it, I guess.
You should have just kept it a secret, like never told anyone and just let them keep banning Shen. So on to the next question. Oh my god, we kind of dropped off there. Do you guys have any tips for like support players, like... or just players in general, trying to climb the ladder? Like, I know you said that maybe like just self-improvement is the best thing, Grayson, but do you feel like there's like not a formula that you can use to like get better at League of Legends? But you guys are both high elo and like have made it into the semi-pro scene. Grayson, you've also made it to the professional once and twice. So like, how do you get to that stage? Is it just something that happens naturally if you're good enough, or is there anything that people can actually do?
I mean, in very rare scenarios, some players have such a big talent in terms of their mechanics, like their brain to hand, I don't know, what do you call it? But like they're so good, coordinate. Like they're so good mechanically, so it doesn't seem like they're putting so much effort into becoming challenger and stuff like that. But I think like 99% of the players, it's all about your state of mind and the way you look at yourself. Like, I think there's a transition where if you really want to become a pro, you have to look at league as it's your work, so you need to try to stay focused and be selfish about your own progress and maybe put your ego aside, because you will always get bad teammates and it will always feel unfair, and there will always be that guy that is holding you down and you feel like you can't improve because they're trolling you. But I think putting your, I don't know, pride aside and just try to isolate whatever you can and just look only on yourself. I know it sounds really cliche to say, but it's actually really hard. It's really hard to do for pro players as well, because yeah, sure, they're ending you, so you could have had a lot more efficiency because you can put your practice in relation to them being on a high level, but you will always have possibility to like look at yourself and do some micro changes. So as long as you just stay disciplined about that, I think you can come a very far way with that state of mind.
I mean, we've seen it as well in pro play, because like people like I think it was Meteos that once kind of got drunk on stream, and this was like between teams at this point, where he was like literally trolling inside of a game,
Yeah, I
just
mean,
inting it
I
down
think,
because he just lost his mental completely.
yeah, I think there's not a single player that is not struggling within himself to try to be only focusing on himself, because as I said, for me it's just about efficiency. Like you're feeling you're not getting any rewards out of the game, like you're feeling you're just wasting your time, but in the end it is what you make of it, you know.
True. Jeppe?
Yeah, like the state of mind, as Grisen just mentioned, is really important. Like there will always be trolls, and there will always be enders in League of Legends and AFKs and shit. So if you can just get the most of each game, you won't waste as much time, and the less the time you waste, the more you improve. And like another thing that's really cliche, but it's kind of good, especially for like gold, plat, and below players. It's just to play 1 or 2 champions and first learn the match, every single matchup there is, because if you learn the matchup, you can focus on everything else, and it'll just be so much easier to learn. Like,
Yeah.
if let's say you're a gold ADC, if you know you're stronger than the enemy, you can, if in every single matchup, if you're playing Lucian against something weak, you can more focus on farming with like a little content, and you can like, what happens if I go out in the river and try to help my jungler and stuff like that. If you like know your matchup and you know what to do if you fall behind, if that happens and shit stuff.
Yeah, of course.
It's all about the reps. Like if you keep playing the same character, it's kind of like keep doing the same exercise. You be more like self-aware. You have more conscience, so you feel like you have more space in your brain to focus on new stuff. So when you play Lucian like all the time, it's gonna become very natural, and you're gonna start realizing new things and ideas in the game you wouldn't realize if you're first timing a champion, for example. So I think that's like the idea of narrowing your champion pool down, so you can think of the game on a deeper level, because the basics becomes more natural to you.
Yeah, of course. So, like, with that being said, what type of champions would you guys recommend for, like, support players to climb? Because a lot of people say stuff like the hookers, like Thresh and Blitzcrank, but those are actually pretty, like, mechanically intensive, especially Thresh that has, like, 2 CCs, 3 if you count his ultimate, and then has a saving tool as well with his Lantern that can be used as, like, a minion blocker as well. Like, he has so many things in his kit, but do you still feel like he's one of those champions you can climb with? Like, if you're just a gold plat player?
I think Thresh is a really good champion to climb with, because he has this kind of pace and his saving tool. His lantern is amazing. The only problem is it's a long-term like climbing, because you need to learn a lot about Thresh before you can start carrying games solo. Like, it's so hard to like position correctly and know when you're just a lantern bitch and when you can actually be like an alpha and just go in and hook. So it's like, I think the hook champions are like a long-term investment.
So short-term, sweet money right now.
Yeah. If you want to climb quickly, you can.
Janna.
I think Janna is like a good champion, but that's mostly when you reach plat and diamond. I think like Rakan is really good, because his RW combo is kind of easy to hit, especially in low elos, because people really like position bad. Position really poorly.
Yeah, I think if you have to see it in the grand schemes of thing, you're gonna aim for something that is high reward,
Low risk.
like low risk, and is reliable in the big percentages. Like if you play a lot of games, I think something like Alistar, you keep it as simple as possible, and it's very hard to punish. So I would say something like Alistar is probably a really good champion to one trick if you're only aiming to rank up, because it's like low risk, high reward.
Mm-hmm. And what about when you're laning with an ADC who's like missing every cannon minion? He's like not trading with you at all. Like, what do you do in those circumstances? Because that's like the support's worst lane. Like, you guys know the feeling. You're like laning with an autofilled ADC. He's playing Ezreal. He's not doing anything. He's not trying to Q poke. He's just standing there and farming.
Perfect tip for that. Get mobility boosts and go top.
Yeah.
Just do the helicopter and run away from the lane phase.
Like I used to tilt a lot. Like I used to have no self control in solo queue. So whenever I got tilted from my AD carry, I would just like mute all, leave lane, and I'm just a second jungler, and I see what comes out.
Okay.
And it actually worked like pretty well for me. And now I'm trying to be more disciplined about it and try to actually, okay, maybe it's not a good idea to roam now, so I have to cover him. But there was a point of like my league career, if you can call it that, where I would just be like, okay, this guy is not worth investing my time on, so I'm just gonna leave him. But I think if you can balance the two, like obviously if you're not feeling you can get a lead on bot, so you need to put it in relation to, okay, can I get more in top or mid than staying on bot? Then you should obviously look to go top and mid if you can compensate for bot lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but do you agree?
I think the helicopter just running top, it's still viable. It's just you just need to like have self-conscious when it's good and when it's not. I think like the ADCs that's just hard flaming you, that's missing your effect.
Yeah.
Like the ADCs that's just makes a lot of mistakes and then just flames on you. That's the thing where you need to think, do I actually want to invest my resources into this guy, or do I just want to give it to my mid laner and top laner?
Yeah, because that's what people don't realize.
When you have just like bad ADCs,
there's actually a very...
It's mostly when you flame, they're not worth investing into, but like you need to think for yourself, do I want to invest the resources I bring to the team into this guy, or do I want to try to give it to the others and just see if they can 1v9?
Yeah, because supports are usually like the carry in the lane phase. That's at least how I view it. Like the support dictates how the lane phase goes. Like if the support is playing well and the ADC is like half decent, then you will win lane phase at some point. Because like
actually,
you can always
funny
protect
point to
and
that.
get kills. Yeah?
I feel like I'm the exact opposite. I feel like the more my AD carry tilts, the more I have to cover him. I actually get scared of leaving him if he's flaming me.
Oh, because he'll just go AFK or something?
Even if my top lane, I guess like 10 CS and he maybe loses 5 CS, like it's still worse in terms of economy for the team.
Yeah.
But his mindset is so broken that he just wants to leave the game because he's the one giving up resources.
Yeah.
So in that case, it's actually sometimes better to just stay bot. So I think you also need some human skills and see what kind of AD carry player you're playing with, because if he's very aggressive and is like, very
like FF at like 5 minutes.
You kind of have to swallow your pride and try not to tilt him even more, because obviously it's his responsibility, but when you're playing online you will always be able to trigger someone even if it's not your intention. So if you can adapt it to, it's really good, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I also feel like and this is coming from an ADC main, like I've played it for 4 or 5 years as a main, and I feel like we are the most bitchy lane like to deal with at all. Like we are always the first person to be like, ah shit, we fucking lost, because like when we fall behind, we feel like if we fall 500, 600 gold behind, we feel like we are so cucked. Like we can't do anything. We can't get our BF at our first item, and like we're gonna have 2 longswords and the other guys has a BF, and we just can't trade anymore. We can't play safe. We can't do anything. Like we're fucked. We're up. It's over. And our top laner can be like 2-0 or something and be like a Jax. And like sometimes I feel like I have to catch myself and be like, okay, our Jax is up 2-0. He's a late game beast. I can just chill down here. Like, as long as I don't die, we should win the game.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with the AD carry role specifically, because you should be the main damage output for your team, so you always want to look to contest resources, where sometimes you have more flexibility on other roles. Like, you can't really just opt into a side lane as an AD carry with the same safety as maybe a mid lane. If he goes behind, he's like, okay, bot lane, you can go mid, I'll try to catch some resources in side lane.
Yeah.
I think that's where the most stress is coming from, that you feel like you don't have that much flexibility in the AD carry role. So if you get behind in the race, you'll always be one step behind.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I also think it's about like the mentality that ADCs often is like in the last in like the most seasons where mainly this one only has the ADC has always been the main damage output.
Yeah, I mean this season got really bad because like 8-11 just destroyed AD carries completely, and like
but I think it's like the mentality as well, where the ADC always thinks like the best ADCs always think they're the best in the world, or like one of the best.
I mean it's true. Like if you watch like streamers and stuff like that, there will always be like, holy shit, I'm insane, when they like they just double killed in bot lane because the Thresh hooked people twice.
But I think like that mentality is also really good for an ADC, because the ADC is really intensely, and if you like get dived or something, it's really hard to just 1v9, and sometimes you can do it, and I think the only times you really can't like 1v9 where you're getting dived in like an almost impossible situation is because you have this mentality of you being the best in the world. Yeah. So you just think you can do everything.
Yeah, so they have like a bit of a bigger ego than most other roles.
Yeah.
At least that's how I feel like it, because I feel like top laners are pretty calm and collected. Like they know that even if they fuck up once, it's okay. I can just TP back. Lane's fine. It's pushing into me. All is good. I didn't lose anything. And then like
you should try playing Russia then.
Yeah.
Such a psychopath, man.
In Russia.
Yeah, he was like screaming at C-Boy.
Holy shit.
I was actually afraid of him like hitting him. Like no joke.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you don't gank my lane, I'm gonna fuck you up, dude.
Jesus Christ. I mean, there's also like a difference between servers, I feel like, at least. Like I have accounts on both EU West and UNE, and I feel like people on Nordic East, first thing is I feel like the skill gap is a bit smaller or lower. I don't know if you guys agree. Like it's like I can hit diamond with ease on like Nordic East. Like I hit diamond 3 or something. But like on West, I was like stuck on plat 3 for like 2 months, and I was like, and this was at the same time. I was just thinking, what the hell is going on? Like, how is there like a full division? Like,
yeah, I think like just depending on where you're playing, they have different gaming cultures, which means the competitive level is different. And EU West is very competitive, where EU Nordic East is like
they like go AFK.
It just seems so casual, you know. All the pro players go on EU West, so obviously people will try to compete with them and get better, learning from playing against them. I played on NA for 4 months this season as well when I was over there in a gaming house, and it was also very different from EU West. Everyone was trying to be nice. It had this whole atmosphere of playing for fun, so they had a lot of one tricks, and people would actually just not ban champions because it has to be fun to play, you know. So of course we're gonna give the enemy their champion so they can have fun.
Give Viper
that's so weird for me when I'm coming from US, because people would just be
there's a Shackle one trick in the other game.
So I mean that was really strange for me as well, trying to play an NA. Like I could just play an entire game, people ending, and not a single word was written, and I'm just like, is my chat not working, or are people okay? Why is no one like trying to fuck my mom or something? Like I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, no, I've heard that like the difference in flame is like also very severe. Like the Korean servers should, I think, that's like insane level of flaming when like people die. Like I don't know if you know LS, you guys. Yeah, he said something about along the lines that Tyler 1 wouldn't have been banned on the Korean server, like for all the things that he did, which is like insane to think about, because it took them a while to ban him in NA as well. Now he's obviously reformed and doing this whole Persona stream. But like if you did that on EOS, I feel like he would get banned pretty easily as well.
Yeah, I got a fine for Riot when I was in NA because I wrote something offensive, and yes, sure, it was offensive, but I know if they had the same surveillance on the players on Riot contracts in EU, everyone would get that fine. It's kind of like as Worlds when they just went to Korea.
Oh yeah.
They also had I think they had some extra upgrades in terms of surveillance, and holy shit, there were so many players that got fined. Like every single guy. It was the same in my region. Like everyone was just getting fined for random stuff. Like it was getting to a point where it was kind of ridiculous. Our top laner, he got a warning for sexual harassment because he called his jungler. He told him like press yes to the surrender, don't be gay, and he got like a warning from Riot. And like we were having such a fucking big laugh of it because I don't know, it seems a bit ridiculous because most of
sexual harassment is kind of
but most of the time the stuff you're writing is just like a meme, you know, like no one actually means what they're typing, so it just became very political, and it I don't know, was kind of ridiculous that most of the players had to pay for something that wasn't their intention. But again, I guess it's still a good thing because you have to be a good example. If you're not on the Riot contract, I feel like you can get away with almost everything, you know?
Yeah, you can basically, like, then it's your own responsibility, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you are on the Riot contract, then you are the face of Riot as well. Like, I think Uzi was one of the guys that actually got a fine, and he was, like, one of the big faces this year for Worlds.
Yeah.
So...
I had to pay $250, and they just take it from your Riot salary. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it's still annoying.
It's like, goddamn.
Yeah.
Like, there goes my smoothies. Damn. Yeah, but do you agree with the whole UNE flaming more than West and Riot being a little more reserved on that side?
Yeah. Like, I've seen some of the shit you just do in Korea, and apparently it's just okay.
Yeah, Mom Boom is like one of them, or
yeah. Like they do a lot of crazy stuff in Korea, and it's I think the more competitive the scene, the server is with like Korea is like seen as this really competitive scene where like if you want a boot camp, you go to Korea so you can get the best practice. I think like it's just the more competitive it is, the more serious people are, and also like. Whenever preseason hits, I feel like the flame is like almost halved because people just don't give a fuck about winning.
That's actually an interesting point. If like I guess the flames becomes more intense in relation to the expectation teammates have from you. So if it's like very competitive and everyone is having this idea that you have to be like really good and play perfectly, obviously they're gonna be upset if you're not playing well. So. I just thought that was like a funny point of view.
Like you can see the correlation with like how much people flame and like where the season is. Because like in the beginning of the season, people are chill and stuff like that. Like placements go on and people don't really care. And then like at the end of season, like the last week, holy shit! Like I don't know how many times I've had my mother cursed or something. Last week I was like, holy shit, dude, calm down. And like. I just kept getting like player notification, like, oh, player notification, this guy got banned, or like account got suspended or something like that. And I was like, Jesus, these guys are gonna lose everything now. What the hell?
Yeah. The best one is the classic where they like add you after the game is
finished.
Yeah.
Get cancer and then leave.
Like, pull out all their frustration on you. Sitting,
And you can't help it. I always accept it because I want to see what they want to say. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just want to see it. Like, yes, do it.
And even though you're like good for you, bro, they just keep on going. They just want the reaction. It's so funny to just sit there and not give a fuck.
I don't even know what they're like looking for. Like, are they looking for you to like start crying or something? Like,
I just think they like want to get all the frustration.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta get it out of the system, you know. It's kind of like punching into a punching bag. He's just using you instead.
Yeah. So like, how do you guys actually vent with it? Because I usually like, if I'm like on a losing streak,
when I get super tilted, or what?
like if I get tilted, I like go and make myself like some coffee or something. I do something else instead of the computer and be like, fuck, I like lost 5 games in a row. I suck ass and get my support sucks and stuff like that. And I just go make some coffee, watch like some YouTube videos, and then I can play again. What do you guys do?
I don't feel that I tilt so hard. That's mostly whenever I play on Smurf because the people on the people on Smurf are like way more clueless.
Yeah.
And,
like you can actually lose games in like gold because you have four people who have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, sometimes
especially as a support.
Yeah.
I think support is very like, I guess it's kind of like a strategic role. Like you're mostly depending on playing into your carries, and if they don't know what you're doing, it's really hard to know what you're doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like you don't know what to do about them.
So you get lost if you can't play your role. Like you're kind of like the right hand for your AD carry. So you sometimes you gotta go where he's going. So if he's not going the correct place, it's hard for you to be in the correct place as well.
Yeah, true. Like unless you're playing like Brand or Zyra or something that can like actually do damage. It's like if you're playing Thresh and you get your ADC like 6 kills, and he just goes and like dies to the Rengar. Like 1,000 gold shut down, and you're like, oh okay, well, that's game, I guess. Like
that's unlucky. Yeah. Whenever I play on my main and just play like solo queue, I don't really tilt that hard. So I can just like reset my mind in queue with either watching YouTube or something. But if I really get like hard tilted with somebody just hard flaming me, and it's not even my mistake. If, for example, an ADC that just
like gets hooked or something, and it's like, why didn't you take it?
That's have a really unlucky game. It's like sometimes I just stop playing for the day.
Yeah. I usually don't cope well with losses, so if I feel like I'm losing 3 games in a row, I usually never play more than 3 games. If I lose 3 games in a row, I just chill, I just need to have 30 minutes to calm down, and then I just want to play again, because I feel like sometimes it can be hard to instantly go into a new game. So I think just like know yourself and your limits, and don't try to test yourself all the time. Like it's okay to say, okay, I need a break because it got to me emotionally. Like we are all humans, so like I'd rather have people waiting 10 to 5 minutes than just going into a new game and not playing as well as they could if they were more focused.
Yeah, of course. Do you feel like that's something that happens? Like, I'm not gonna ask you like hang out with your teammates or anything, but like when you're playing in the LCD and you guys just came off of like a big loss or something, usually there's only like a, I think, 10-minute break from when you've like played the last game and you going into picks and bans again. Like, is that enough time for you guys to like mentally reset and be like, okay, new game, score is 0-0, let's go?
I think it's very different from team to solo queue. Like I would always expect in a team that everyone will step up and not be tilted. Like anything else is unacceptable. Obviously you will have some emotions from a loss, but if you can, like, I feel like you can always try to suppress your emotions for a limited amount of time. So if you're playing a best of 3, even a best of 5, you should be able to have the ability to put it aside, and then sure, then maybe in the evening or after you can be tilted, but as soon as you're like in the moment, you should be able as a professional or a semi-professional to put your own tilt aside for the team.
Yeah, that's a valuable point, because that's something that people talk about, that pro players at least need to have. And like this season, this off season, we saw a lot of flack was given to, I think it was Gilius, who was talked to as like, oh, he can't find a team because he's toxic, quote unquote. Yeah. And no one was actually saying that he was.
My point was just, it's the relation between solo queue and team, where solo queue is very personal and it's very selfish, and that's not always the correct path to take when you're in a team environment. So I think those two are very different, like mindsets, I guess.
Yeah, but do you agree? Do you have different mindsets for the two? Or?
I think GrisenN's right with, like, when you're playing in a competitive team, it's kind of expected for you to just not tilt. But I think sometimes you can have such a bad game that it's hard. But I think in like the games where you're losing really hard, you should just kind of surrender the game and just
FF.
You don't have to overthink it, because sometimes
if you're losing like you're 10k behind on 15 minutes, it's just, you should just play the game out, of course, but kind of go on autopilot and just start slowly untilt and just be ready for the next game.
So play for fun if like the entire team is just
not
completely
doomed.
not
for fun, but like more like an autopilot and be like, get more and more relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you reach in some games you reach a point where you're just like you fucked up so many times where
it doesn't matter anymore.
You try to analyze it, nothing's good gonna come for it. So the best way of resetting your mindset is just forget about the game. Like there's no like productivity from the game whatsoever. So just like talking about it is in some scenarios not even worth it. So if you can just like forget about it, go into the next game and just try over again is sometimes the correct thing to do, where in the more even games you want to maybe go down on the game a little bit and discuss the minor missteps you took and try to change and adapt a little bit more. But yeah, again, the point is sometimes you get games that you just want to forget about.
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody knows that feeling at least. I definitely know that feeling at least. I think that was actually the last of my questions. I don't know if you guys have any plugs or stuff like that. I have your Twitter names written on here on the layout, so people can find you guys on Twitter. It's at GrisenLOL and at JeppeHou. And I don't know if you guys have any last words. I'll give it to you guys. Grisen, you can go ahead first.
I mean, I don't have any specifically. I was happy for the opportunity. It was fun being here. I always love talking about League and like, just try to share some thoughts. It was really fun being here.
Yeah, happy to have you, man. Jeppe?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and good luck in solo queue to everyone listening.
We will need it. We will all need it. Preseason still has like half a month left, so cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys around.
Yes.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya.